When a young man is discerning the priesthood, he encounters a number of different obstacles. You may be surprised to learn that one of the most common is opposition from parents. Parents who have hopes and dreams and plans for their child, and priesthood isn't one of them. As this young man journeys to discern God's will, his parents journey too. What many of these parents discover is a truth that we see exemplified in the person of St. Joseph. Our diocese is in the midst of the year of St. Joseph. Seminarian John Duga is here today as a part of that celebration to share with us the story of his own vocation. But what those parents discover, what St. Joseph exemplifies, is this. At their core, every other person belongs to God. No matter the person, no matter our relationship with them, at their core, all other persons belong to God. So what is your spouse's deepest identity? One who belongs to God. What is your child's deepest identity? One who belongs to God. No other person, not our spouse, our child, whomever, has ever been our chief possession. Nor will they ever be our chief possession. What is chief for us, our spouse and children included, is their relationship with God, not our relationship with them. What is chief for them is God's will for them, not our will for them. So this morning, as we celebrate the feast of the Holy Family, let's dig into the person of Joseph. Let's see the witness he offers and how that can assist us in our relationships with every other person. From a young age, Mary consecrates herself to God as a virgin. Joseph chooses Mary for marriage, and Mary confides to Joseph the secret of her consecration. Mary looks to Joseph. Ours will not be the marriage you envision, Joseph. Ours will not be the marriage that you expect. And Joseph says yes. What is chief for Mary is her relationship with God. What is chief for Mary is God's will for her. And Joseph serves that. Joseph knows that God and his relationship are primary not only in Mary's life, but in every other person's life. He doesn't insist that he be the primary one. At the Annunciation, Joseph is called yet again to acknowledge the primacy of God and the primacy of God's will in Mary's life. Mary and Joseph at this point are legally married. The angel Gabriel comes to Mary while she is alone. Joseph, her spouse, is not involved in the call. Joseph, her spouse, is not involved in Mary's choice to become the mother of God. Imagine your spouse, imagine your child making such a momentous, life-altering choice without seeking your advice. What would your response be? Again, the truth is that God has all the rights over Mary. She ultimately belongs to him. Mary is not Joseph's possession. And what is Joseph's response? He's not jealous of God. He doesn't think of God as his rival. He doesn't think of God as stealing something that's his, taking away the one that belongs to him. No, Joseph lets God take the first place. He lets God take precedence over his own opinions, his own desires, his own plans, and his own aspirations. The truth we see in Joseph, the primacy of God in every other person's life. The primacy of God's will in every other person's life. What does this mean for us? To become people who love God above all, and to allow other people to be people who love God above all. Imagine making this prayer daily. Lord, may my spouse always love you more. Lord, may your will always be more important to my spouse than mine. Lord, may my children always love you more. Lord, may your will always be more important to my children than mine. We can make that prayer for a spouse, a child, but really for every other relationship in our lives. God is the most important and the most urgent need in every other person's life. And it really makes a whole lot of sense when you think about it. God knows what other people need, and he always will know what other people need better than we will. His knowledge is infinitely perfect. God knows what your spouse needs. He knows what your children need better than you do. God's gifts are always better than our gifts. We're never going to outdo him. God loves and leads other people better than we ever could. God will love and will lead your spouse better than you can. God will love and lead your children better than you can. That covenant relationship that God has with your spouse, that God has with your child, will always be infinitely more perfect than yours. Why? Because God is infinite perfection. And while we can be good, and while we can grow in perfection, we will never be infinitely perfect. He knows others better than we do. He leads them better than we do. His relationship with them is better than ours. In every other person's life, God is primary. God's will is primary. When a young man is discerning the priesthood, he encounters a number of different obstacles. Often one of those is from his parents. Today, we resolve to become a people who don't insist on our way, who don't insist on being preferred to the Lord, but who, like Joseph, surrender to what he is doing in the lives of others. When we do that, our spouses can be whom God created them to be. When we do that, our children